I got cut off again. Why does this happen to me? Anyway, they would talk about working out. Maybe they would have other suggestions. Well, let's just assume that you chose to attend the workout. You observe players maybe arriving to work out. They've got their book bags with them. They're kind of, you know, shuffling along. They're not maybe not very enthusiastic. They're just exhausted. And then you would sit there and watch them work out for a while. For any of these observations, I don't expect you necessarily to stay, for 2 hours. For the classroom observation, do you have to stay from 8:30 to 9:50? Maybe not. Maybe you just stay for the first 10 minutes of class, and then maybe you come back at the end of class and observe the final 5, 10, 15 minutes of class. And as the player gathers his things at the end of class and off he goes, maybe he's finally going to get some breakfast, or maybe he's going to go back and go to sleep. But those are the details that you want to talk to that player beforehand and try to figure out the best strategy for observing. So, but please keep that in mind. You want enough, so you've got enough information that when you write a story, you can write at least a few paragraphs, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs about what you observed. That's all you'll need. You aren't going to write 3 pages about your observation, and I'll talk more about that in the coming days and weeks. So anyway, then the last part of this is deciding whom to interview. What are the interviews I'm going to do for this angle of preparing for the upcoming season? I don't know who the best people are to interview for that. Certainly one of the players who's working out, as I put here, but which player? And the only way I'm going to figure that out is I need to talk to the players or the coaches and figure out who has the best story. And I put it in for an example in here. Maybe there's a player who's coming back from an injury. Maybe there's a player who was overweight and out of shape and has totally dedicated himself in the past year to getting in shape. I mean, he was already working out before the people even got there for that mandatory workout. And he's now on the verge of getting drafted. He's going to make it in the NFL because of his dedication. Now, that's a story. And you only find those stories by talking to the people associated with the team. Remember, that's one interview. You have to do a second one, and as this next paragraph says, another person has to be an authority figure. So I would have to interview somebody related, the best person related to that angle. Maybe it's a coach, but maybe it's an athletic trainer about the workouts or the facilities or that particular player's dedication or that whatever it is. I need to figure out who that authority figure is going to be. By the way, this is important. You are allowed to use the same authority figure for multiple angles. So if I interview a coach for this particular angle of preparing for the upcoming season, that coach might also be somebody I would interview for the balancing academics and athletics angle. You are allowed to use the same authority figure for multiple angles. So in fact, you may not interview 6 total people for this project. You might interview a student for each one of the 3 angles, that's 3 interviews, and then you might find one authority figure who really can expound upon all 3 of your angles. That's perfectly acceptable if you want to do that. So really the minimum interviews might be 4 if you find that magical authority figure who can talk about everything. I put another note again at the bottom of this document that don't think like you have to interview people at the occasions, at the observations that you go to. You might find the best person you want to talk to and say, "Oh, hey, I'm working on this story. I'd love to interview about it, and can I talk to you later?" And you could set up a different time. All right. Well, that's it. That's the Beat project. I hope this is clear. I hope you have a good understanding of not only what you need to do overall, but what your first steps are. We'll talk more about this, obviously, in class. We're going to answer your questions. We're going to have time to talk around the room about your project, about things where you're struggling or advice you might need. So we turn this into like a newsroom where we're all working together to answer questions and help each other out. So we'll feel much more like a community here in the next couple of weeks as we really push for you to be successful for this project. Got questions, concerns, freaking out, ideas, whatever it is? I'm your dude. I'm your editor. I promise you I'll help you. I want the same thing that you want, and that's for you to feel successful and really proud of the opportunity that you have and proud of the work that you're going to do for this project. All right, all I got. So go ahead, make sure you finish the rest of the assignment for Monday. Bye. Back to Shakespeare.